Empaths in relationships, 15 tips for happy and healthy love. Empaths in relationships illustrated by a couple on bikes. Part 1. If you're an empath, you know what it's like to have an incredibly strong, understanding bond with another person. Since you're able to not just sense their emotions, but feel them almost as intensely as they do, you're able to connect with them like few others ever will. That doesn't mean that every relationship you have will be an ideal match. In fact, empaths often face challenges and difficulties that others will never have to deal with. Below are some of the most common issues that empaths have to contend with, plus helpful tips on how to navigate them. Challenges empaths often face in relationships. There are a number of challenges and difficulties that empaths can face in their relationships. The list below encompasses most of them, although they may manifest differently in each individual. Emotional overwhelm. Since empaths can literally feel other people's emotions, they can end up feeling overwhelmed on a regular basis. This is especially true if they're in a relationship with someone who experiences intense emotions. Perfect examples may be partners who have high-stress jobs, paramedics, surgeons, highly charged family issues, sick or abusive parents, special needs, children, or problems with emotional dysregulation. Empaths with highly emotional partners or spouses may get ill rather often because they have to expend so much energy dealing with both their own emotions and their partners. The same goes for people who have to deal with intense coworkers on a daily basis without any time to decompress later. Alienating potential partners. Many people can be uncomfortable or unnerved by those who can read them like a book. This is especially true for those who try to maintain their stoicism whenever possible. They may have rock-solid control over themselves and keep their emotions well guarded for a number of different reasons. As such, when and if an empath can tell what they're feeling, because they're feeling it too, they might not know how to process that. Furthermore, they may not want to be with a person who sees right through their defenses and masks at all times. Avoidance of emotional intimacy. Because of their ability to feel other people's emotions so intensely, many empaths avoid getting close too quickly. The average empath will have fallen for others hard and fast in the past, and gotten hurt badly as a result. This may be especially true if they've ignored obvious red flags early in the relationship because they sense the other person's emotions, and thus their potential. Keeping distance like this may cause others to perceive the empath as cold or distant, when in fact the opposite is true. Empaths just guard themselves fiercely until they know they can trust a partner. Some might be okay with physical intimacy, but won't stay the night. Or they'll only agree to meet occasionally, with weeks in between meetings. Uncertainty regarding how to best use their empathy. This builds upon the previous challenging situation in that an empath might not always know how to use their abilities within the bounds of a relationship, or even whether they should be using them. For example, most people don't like it when others intrude into their personal lives, and that includes tapping into their emotions. You might get too attuned to a new lover too quickly and make them feel uncomfortable, or inform them that you know they're lying, not telling you everything, and so on. Being called oversensitive or dramatic. A lot of empaths find themselves on the receiving end of mockery and disdain on a regular basis. After all, we live in a world that values emotional detachment, aloofness, and independence above intense emotional connection. Since empaths are so sensitive to what others are feeling, they might break down in tears when others are hurting, or get angry or upset when others are going through a rough time. This may lead those around them to call them names or make fun of them for being overly emotional. In fact, Some might think that they're intentionally trying to redirect attention to themselves instead of being a pillar of support, or otherwise behaving the way others want them to. Hesitance to rock the boat by establishing or maintaining boundaries. Empaths can feel what other people are feeling around them, and they have an extraordinary amount of compassion for others' pain and suffering. Because of that, most of them are loath to cause any kind of upset or suffering in others. This means that these empaths may refrain from defending their boundaries or speaking up about things that upset them for fear of hurting or angering the other person. They know that if they do, their partner might get sad or frustrated, which could initiate an argument. As a result, not only will the empath have to feel their own discomfort and upset, they'll have to feel what their partner is feeling as well. Since this can be an incredibly uncomfortable situation to deal with, many of them choose to suffer in silence rather than face the maelstrom that may ensue from speaking their truth. Codependence with narcissists. Sadly, one of the most unhealthy types of relationship pairings also happens to be one of the most common, and that's the pairing of an empath with a narcissist. Empaths are natural givers who are highly attuned to other people's needs, while narcissists are natural takers who thrive on being pandered to. In this type of relationship, the empath feels that they are wholly responsible for their partner's happiness. As a result, they attune themselves to their partner's needs and basically martyr themselves for the sake of the narcissist's well-being and fulfillment. Since the narcissist partner will never reciprocate, the empath ends up getting more and more depleted. They'll eventually break in some manner, whether it's because of a health issue, nervous breakdown, for example, or because they end up having nothing left to give. That's when their partner will leave them for the next empath who will sacrifice themselves for the sake of the narcissist's happiness. 15 tips for empaths in relationships. The tips below may be helpful for empaths who are struggling with personal relationships. Not all will apply to everyone, but the average empath will be able to learn and grow from at least a few of them. 1. Learn how to sense and acknowledge others' emotions without absorbing them. This one may sound easier said than done, especially if you don't have much control over your empathic abilities yet. Basically, it involves acknowledging that you can feel what your partner is feeling without taking those emotions on as if they were your own. It's rather like the difference between seeing that your partner is getting wet out in the rain, even sensing the dampness on their skin, and running out there so you get soaked as well. It's important to learn how to shield yourself with protective energy so you don't take their feelings on like a burden.